Welcome to the Read This channel. Subscribe. Support those who write today.
Arden Volan, Station 13. Prologue. I have lived in this city for 33 years, and it still manages to surprise me, usually in small ways. A new cafe on a street where nothing ever changes. A bus stop moved 10 meters without warning. A strange mural under a bridge that no one admits painting. But once in a lifetime, the city surprises you in a way that feels wrong, unearned, impossible. It was past midnight when everything began. The rain had already washed the streets clean, leaving the asphalt wet and glossy like a black mirror. Neon spilled across puddles. The street lamps glowed without warmth. The last evening crowds had disappeared into taxis, bars, and apartments, and the world felt like it belonged only to those who couldn't sleep. People like me. My name is Alex Morgan. I am, or was, a journalist, the kind who chases stories no one else wants, the kind who listens to rumors when everyone else laughs at them. It's a bad habit. It keeps you awake at night. It keeps you curious. It keeps you alone. That night, I couldn't shake a feeling, a tug beneath the skin, an itch in the back of the mind. Something was happening in the metro. For 2 weeks, the city whispered about people who entered trains and never returned. Not many. A handful, enough to become a story no one said out loud.
Friends said they traveled at night and never arrived home. Families said they vanished between stations. Police said nothing at all. But the strangest rumor of all was this. There was a station that didn't exist. A station not listed on any map, not announced by any voice, not shown by any sign. Passengers who saw it described it differently. Some said it was abandoned. Others said brand new. Others swore it wasn't finished, half constructed, half forgotten. Those who stepped out there never stepped back. That rumor should have been laughable. Cities don't grow train stations in the dark. Tracks don't rearrange themselves. Steel doesn't move like a living thing. And yet, something inside me whispered, "Go." At exactly 01:07 a.m., I bought a cheap coffee from an all-night kiosk, walked down the empty concrete steps into the metro entrance, and heard my footsteps echo through the tunnel. No crowds, no chatter, just the hum of fluorescent lights and the ghostly rumble of distant trains. The air tasted metallic, old, as if the tunnel had been sealed for years. My train arrived without announcement, slow, heavy, and silent. I stepped inside. There were only 2 other passengers, a man asleep with his head against the window, and a young woman staring at her reflection in the glass as if it expected it to blink. The doors closed. The train pulled forward with a low, mechanical groan. And that was the moment it happened. The lights inside the carriage flickered, once, twice, like someone breathing in the dark. The tunnel outside swallowed every trace of light until the windows reflected nothing but blackness. Then, with a quiet, unnatural jolt, the train began to slow. We were nowhere between stations. No signs, no platform, no reason. The sleeping man didn't move. The woman's reflection did. Her reflection turned its face toward me, even though she did not. I felt the air leave my lungs. The lights went out. For one long, impossible second, I sat blind in total darkness. No sound, no movement, nothing, just the pounding of my own heart. The lights snapped back on. We had stopped. I looked out the window, and there, where no platform should exist, where no station had ever been, stood a staircase, dimly lit by a single dying bulb. A sign hung overhead, crooked, rusted, barely legible through the grime of years. I leaned closer. A number, faded but unmistakable. 13. The doors opened. Cold air rushed in, air that smelled of dust, concrete, and something older, something buried. The woman stood, stepped out, and vanished into the shadows of the platform without a second glance, like she had been waiting for this stop all along. The sleeping man never woke, and I, like an idiot, like a journalist, like someone who still believed that truth was more important than fear, I stood up and followed her. The doors slid shut behind me. The train pulled away. And for the first time in my life, I was truly alone. Alone on Station 13. Chapter 1. The platform was silent. No announcements, no screens, no graffiti. Nothing to prove that anyone had ever been here at all. Just cracked tiles, a half-working light that buzzed like an angry insect, and the stale, dry air of a place abandoned long before I was born. The train was gone. Its sound faded into the tunnels like a heartbeat slowing to nothing. I tried to call after the woman who stepped out before me, but the platform swallowed sound. My voice felt small, like shouting underwater. There were only two directions to go: forward into darkness or backward into nothing. I chose forward. The stairs rose in a narrow concrete corridor, steep and uneven. Each step creaked under my weight, as if the staircase remembered footsteps and didn't like new ones. At the top, I expected a hall, a door, at least a sign. Instead, I found a wall, a dead end, rough concrete, solid, unmarked. As if the station had once been part of a plan, then demolished, erased, forgotten. But then, something strange. The concrete wasn't old.
It looked fresh, too fresh, as if someone sealed it only days ago. Why build stairs to nowhere? I touched the wall. It was cold, smooth, and then my hand slipped, no, sank an inch into the surface. Wet paint, fresh. Someone had just sealed this entrance. Someone who didn't want anyone getting through. I stepped back, heart pounding. That was when I noticed it. Footprints. Small, light footprints on the dusty floor. The woman's. They led toward a service door hidden behind a rusted vending machine, a machine so old it didn't belong to any decade I could remember. I grabbed the metal edge and pulled. The machine moved too easily. Behind it, a narrow opening, a metal door slightly ajar, and darkness breathing from the gap. I hesitated only a second.
Journalists survive on curiosity. Sometimes it saves you. Sometimes it kills you. I pushed the door open. A long maintenance tunnel stretched ahead. Dim emergency lights glowing red every few meters, like fading veins in a steel organism. The air was colder here. And something else. A faint scent of oil and perfume. She was here. "Hello?" I called. Silence. Then a whisper of movement, soft steps, not running, waiting. I walked. The deeper I went, the warmer the air became. Walls sweated with moisture. Pipes trembled with distant vibrations. Then I heard it. A voice. The same woman from the train, sitting on the ground, her back to me, staring at a metal panel on the wall. I approached slowly. "Miss?" She stopped singing. Her shoulders stiffened. She turned her head halfway, just enough for me to see her profile in the red light. "You shouldn't have followed," she whispered. Her voice was wrong. Empty, like she wasn't fully here. "I just want to know where we are. What is this station?" She smiled. Not kindly. "Not a station," she answered. "A doorway." "To where?" "To the place the city hides." I felt the floor vibrate, a low tremor, like machinery waking up. She rose to her feet in one smooth motion, far too graceful for someone who had been sitting in the dark. "Listen for the train," she said quietly. "What train?" Her eyes found mine. Chapter 2. The corridor stretched farther than any station ever should. Endless, silent. Built of the same gray concrete that swallowed sound and time. I walked. 5 steps. 10. 50. Still no door, no sign, no break in the wall. I tried my phone. No signal. Not even a network name. Just no service. Like the world above had been erased. The tremor faded, and with it the sound of the unseen train. Silence settled in, thick as dust. That was when I saw it. A metal sign bolted to the wall. Old, warped, letters rusted, nearly invisible. I scraped away dirt with my sleeve until the words appeared. Emergency exit. Finally,
I followed the arrow. The air grew colder again, heavy with the smell of mold and old stone. The corridor bent left, then right, like a maze built by someone who had never wanted people to escape. At last, I reached the door. Heavy steel, no handle, no keyhole, just a red strip of paint across the middle. A warning, not a welcome. I pushed anyway. Nothing. I pulled. Nothing. Then I noticed something carved into the metal. Don't let them see you. I turned. The corridor was empty, but someone was there. I felt it like breath on the back of my neck. I stepped away from the steel door and pressed myself against the wall. If someone was coming, I didn't want to stand in the open like prey. The footsteps grew louder, echoing and multiplying like more feet than one person should have. Then, light. A soft white glow appeared at the far end of the corridor, floating low like the headlamp of a train. But there was no track, no rails, just concrete. The glow grew brighter, and with it a shape emerged, a person. No, a shadow shaped like a person, walking without sound, without weight, without detail. Its edges flickered like film burning in a projector. My body went cold. I backed up, feeling blindly for anything, a weapon, a stone, a loose pipe. Nothing. The figure kept coming, step by step, closer. And then a whisper so close it burned my ear. Don't move. A hand grabbed my shoulder. I almost screamed, but a second hand covered my mouth. Quiet, a voice breathed. It hears voices. The light of the ghostly figure passed within meters of us. I could see nothing inside it. No face, no features, just emptiness. It slowed, turned, faced us. I stopped breathing. For 10 seconds, it stood still, watching, listening, wanting. Then it drifted on, light fading with every step, until the darkness swallowed it completely. Only then the hand left my mouth. I spun around. It was her, the woman from the train. Closer now, I could see her face clearly in the dim emergency lights. Her skin was pale, too pale. Her eyes dark and haunted, as if she had cried every day for years. "What the hell was that?" I whispered. She shook her head. "The city forgets people, but not everything it forgets is dead." I swallowed hard. How do we get out? We don't. That word cut deeper than any blade. What do you mean, we don't?
She stepped past me, touched the emergency door, the one that wouldn't open, and whispered, "It used to lead out." Then she turned, "And one day it will again." I stared at her. "You've been here before?" A small, broken smile. "I never left." My skin crawled. "How long?" She didn't answer, but her silence was worse than the truth. Chapter 3. Her words hit me harder than the darkness. I never left. Not hours, not days. Something in her voice sounded older. "How long have you been here?" I asked. She didn't look at me. Instead, she walked deeper into the corridor, and I had no choice but follow. The red lights flickered overhead, one by one, like something was killing the electricity as we moved. "At first," she said quietly, "people only disappeared at night, a few a year, then more, and the city kept pretending nothing was wrong." "And you?" I pushed. "You were one of them?" "No." Her voice tightened. "I came looking for someone." Her pace quickened. She didn't want to say more, so I changed the subject. "What was that thing?" She stopped. "A shadow, one of the first." "What?" "The first passengers who walked out here and were never seen again." Chills went down my spine. "You mean they were human once?" She nodded. "Until the place erased them." We turned another corridor, and the corridor widened into a massive chamber. Pipes ran along the ceiling like metal veins. Old service cars rusted on a forgotten track. Dust lay thick as snow. But that wasn't what froze my breath. On the wall hung dozens of posters, torn, soaked, faded by time. Missing people. Faces. Names. Dates. Recent. Old. Different decades. My heart turned to ice. These weren't just rumors. They were real. She said, "That's why you're here, Alex. You chase stories. You don't give up. You came to find them." I shook my head. "No, I came because I was curious." She gave a hollow smile. "That's how it always starts." Before I could respond, a new sound echoed through the chamber. A voice. Not a whisper this time. A child. Crying. Her eyes widened, not with fear, but with something worse. Recognition. "No," she whispered. "It can't be." The crying grew louder, coming from a ventilation shaft. She ran toward it, dropped to her knees, pulled at the metal grate. "Help me," she begged. I knelt beside her, yanked hard. The grate snapped open. The crying stopped. Silence. Then a small hand reached out of the darkness. Her breath broke. "Matthew!" She grabbed the little hand with both of hers, crying now, shaking, pulling. But the hand didn't move, like something was holding the child back. "Pull with me!" she screamed. I grabbed her wrists, trying to help. Something pulled back from the other side, strong, inhuman. The child's hand slipped away. The crying faded, then stopped. She collapsed against the wall, shaking, silent. I didn't know what to say. I had nothing to give her. After a long moment, she whispered, "That was my son." A blade of guilt cut through me. "You came here to find him." Her voice was hollow. "I thought he was still alive. I thought if I followed the path, I'd reach him. Is he still?" "No." She stood, empty and trembling. "Nothing that goes deeper ever comes back the same." The lights flickered again. The pipes above groaned. Something else was coming. She grabbed my arm. "We have to move, now."
Chapter 4. We ran. Not because we heard something, but because we felt it. A cold pressure in the air, like the tunnel itself was holding its breath. Her fingers dug into my wrist as we sprinted down the abandoned passage. Rusty pipes dripped overhead. The rails below were warped, buckled, dead. "Where are we going?" I gasped. "Up," she said. "There's a service stairway. If it's not sealed, we can reach the surface." My brain couldn't accept it. We were underground, but how deep? And how long had she been trapped here? Every step echoed like a scream. Every shadow moved. Finally, we found the staircase, metal, narrow, leading into darkness. She pushed me forward. "Go." I climbed. She followed. Halfway up, the lights below flickered and died. Silence. Then, a scrape.
Metal, heavy, dragging. Something was climbing after us. "Faster," she whispered. The staircase trembled. A deep, grinding breath rose from below. We reached the door at the top, a heavy steel hatch. I slammed my shoulder into it, locked. I tried again. No movement. "It's sealed," I hissed. "No," she said. "Look." A keypad. 6 digits. No light, no power. Even if we had the code, still below us. Closer. Her hands shook. Then she said quietly, "My son knew the code." I turned to her. "You saw him. He's alive." "No," she whispered. "He's not." Her fingers hovered over the keys, pressed 6 numbers. Beep. The lock clicked. The door swung open. Cold air, real air, city air, and we stumbled out into a maintenance corridor lit by emergency lamps. She slammed the hatch behind us and twisted the manual lock. On the other side,
something hit the steel, hard enough to make the boats shake. She stepped back, breathing fast. The footsteps retreated. Silence. We stood still for a full minute before either of us moved. "You opened it. You saved us." "No, he saved us." I didn't ask how a dead child knew the code. I didn't want the answer. We reached another door,
old, heavy, covered in dust. She shoved it open, and the corridor widened into a forgotten station platform, cracked tiles, broken benches, abandoned signs. But one detail froze my blood. There was a modern metro map on the wall, fresh, updated, new, and Station 13 was still not on it. "Where the hell are we?" I whispered. She turned slowly toward me. "This is Station 14. I felt my stomach drop. If there's a 14, there has to be a 13. No, it shouldn't. Not anymore. Before I could respond, the lights in the station flickered on by themselves.
The speakers crackled, and a calm, automatic voice spoke. "Last train approaching." Her eyes widened. "No," she said. "No, no, no!" The tracks hummed, a distant roar, something enormous, mechanical, living. "We need to hide. It's not a train." Chapter 5. We ducked behind a row of broken vending machines just as the train entered the station. Only it wasn't a train. It moved like one, steel, wheels, headlights cutting through the dark. But the shape was wrong. Too long, too narrow, like something wearing metal skin. The doors slid open with a hiss. Empty. No passengers, no seats, only darkness inside. The smell of rust and wet stone poured out. She gripped my arm so hard her nails cut skin. She whispered, "Don't look at the windows." Of course, that made me look, and I saw him, the driver, a silhouette in the front car, tall, motionless, skull-like head tilted slightly to the side as if listening. No face, no eyes, just a black shape behind cracked glass. But I knew he was staring at us. The station lights dimmed. The loudspeaker cracked again. "Next stop, Station 13. My blood froze. The doors began to close. We stayed silent, hidden in shadows. The train didn't move. It waited for us. The driver slowly turned his head toward the vending machines, toward us. She swallowed her scream. "He knows," she whispered. Metal groaned. The wheels screeched. The train inched forward, not leaving, but coming closer, straight toward us. She whispered, "Run!" We sprinted down the platform, into a maintenance tunnel. The darkness swallowed us whole. Behind us, the train wailed like something alive, a metallic scream that shook dust from the ceiling. The tracks ended abruptly at a concrete barrier. Dead end. "No, no, no!" She spun, looking for a way out. There, a ladder leading upward. She shoved me toward it. "Climb!" The metal rungs vibrated beneath my hands as something massive slammed into the tunnel wall behind us. The train had followed. Lights burst, sparks flew, steel tore against stone. We climbed. The noise below grew louder, grinding, tearing, unstoppable. We reached a hatch in the ceiling. I threw it open. And for the first time since this nightmare began, fresh night air. We climbed out onto the street. A real street. Empty, quiet, peaceful. The city. Her knees buckled. She collapsed on the pavement, crying silently, half relief, half terror. I knelt beside her. "It's over," I said. She shook her head. "No, you don't understand." I did, because behind us, the metal hatch trembled. Something pushed from below, testing it, searching. We backed away slowly. The city lights flickered. A shadow passed across the nearest street lamp, fast, inhuman. The train, it wasn't trapped underground anymore. She said, "They look for those who escape." I stared at the quiet, sleeping city. No one knew. No one believed. People vanished, and the world kept moving. I said, "We have to warn them." She looked up at me, eyes empty. She answered, "No one ever believes until they hear the sound." What sound? She pointed behind me, and from somewhere in the distance, too close, too real, came the low rising screech of metal wheels on tracks. Only there were no tracks here, not on this street, not anymore. We ran down an empty street lit by sparse streetlights. Too quiet, too clean. This isn't what salvation looks like. This is what a trap looks like. And the sound was chasing us. A metallic screech, as if a rut had reappeared under the asphalt, as if the city itself was opening tunnels beneath our feet. Anna stopped suddenly and grabbed my hand. "Don't look back." But I looked anyway. Beyond the intersection, in the middle of the quiet night, hung a thick, motionless fog, white, dense like smoke, and shadows emerged from it. Tall, thin, empty. I recognized them immediately. Passengers, those who had disappeared, those whom the station had made its own. They didn't walk, they glided. Their faces were smeared like damaged film. Their heads would rise, then jerk sharply to the side as if pulled by invisible strings. And all the while, silence. Anna whispered, "These are the ones who stayed there too long. They don't want to go back. They need someone new." One of them turned his head directly toward me. Although he had no eyes, I could feel his gaze. My legs refused to obey, but Anna pushed me forward. "There she is," she pointed to the doorway of the 24-hour store on the corner. "Light, people, salvation." We rushed inside, almost knocking over the security guard. He raised his hand, about to say something, and froze. Outside, a train stopped quietly by the window. But the street was empty. There were no tracks. There was no tunnel. Only the glass of the shop window and the reflection of the empty night. And yet, outside, the windows of the train cars flickered.
Silhouettes peered through the glass, empty faces, blurred.
And in the cabin itself, there he was again, the engineer, without eyes, with a face that seemed carved out of darkness. He tilted his head slowly, as if asking, "Well?" And the train door opened, with a quiet, soft, almost gentle hiss. Anna sobbed and covered her face with her hands. The guard came to the door and said, "A train? At this hour? Are you kidding me?" He stepped closer, about to look. I wanted to shout, "Don't go out there!" But my throat tightened with fear. The store door shook. The glass darkened as if someone had placed their palm on it from the outside. But there was no one there, only a reflection. And suddenly, S-T-O-P. A voice, not human, straight from the speakers, from the wall, from the air. The lights flickered, and all the customers in the store seemed to freeze. Everyone stood still, not blinking, not breathing. Anna whispered, "They didn't come for us. They came for the city." I turned to the display window and saw the last thing I wanted to see. A mark appeared on the glass, the imprint of a small child's palm, the same one that had held Anna in the tunnel. She collapsed to her knees, quietly, without screaming.
An announcement appeared again in the light of the shop window. It appeared right on the glass, as if burned in with a laser. Station 13 is open. Then another line, "No tickets required," and silence. The train disappeared. An empty street, a dark night, not a sound. The shoppers in the store slowly began to come to their senses, looking around, blinking, as if nothing had happened. No one saw it. No one understood, except us. Anna looked up. "This isn't the end." I nodded, because I heard it, a faint, almost imperceptible, but still real sound. Far below, under the city, the wheels were back on the tracks.